Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fantastic. Thanks again for joining me. Well, today I am super excited. I get to share with you a couple of thank you cards using some new items over at the Pretty Pink Posh shop. Paulina is the owner of Pretty Pink Posh, and she was kind enough to send me some of the brand new March release that's over there. If you guys are interested in the Pretty Pink Posh March release, this is some of the items. There's more to it, and I'll link it down below in case you guys want to check it out. Some cute little stamp sets. This here is called Little One. It has a cute little lamb with a rattle. Fun sentiments here that says welcome little one and baby and congratulations. And there is a coordinating die set with I cut out the rattle and a lamb. There's also a tulip stamp set. I love tulips, so this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to create 2 thank you cards with this set. Beautiful tulips that you can create a nice little bouquet with. There's the baby stamp set, and this is perfect for those expecting mothers. There's it's a boy, it's a girl, so you can customize it. And there's a large baby word, but there's accent pieces like onesies and bibs and I won't say clothespins, but they're safety pins on there. And there's also a coordinating die set for that. Everything that I share with you today, guys, I'll be making a project with in the future, so that's why I wanted to share part of the March release with you today. The tulips fit portrait style A2 size card base beautifully, and so does the baby. The baby, you have to scoot the little letters in a little bit close, but it does fit portrait and landscape style. There's a baby die that's brand new, and the font is just gorgeous. It's called the Baby Script, super pretty. And then there's also a Welcome Little One die set, and it's the script set as well. You can see here I die cut it out with pink cardstock. Love that. And the nice thing about this one too is you could it's versatile. You could put welcome on a new home card too. So there is the 2 new sentiment dies, and then there is a border die set. This is the EYELET border die set. It's a 3-piece set, and I wanted to share with you what it looks like. So we're gonna die cut out each one of these. There is a small eyelet scallop. There is a zigzag scallop border, and then there is a larger border swag, which is so pretty. So this is what they look like die cut out. This one has larger holes that are punched in it with stitch detail, and it fits a landscape and a portrait style card beautifully. And it gives you a little extra room so you can center it, which is really nice. So there's that one. Here is the smaller scallop eyelet, which is so dainty and so pretty. Love that. And then here's the zigzag. So this is a nice little stash builder for not just baby cards, but any cards if you want to add daintiness too. Okay, we'll set everything aside, and then we're going to work on a project using the tulip stamp set. Everything that I shared today, guys, will be linked down below, and including the Pretty Pink Posh shop in case you guys want to check out the new release. But for today's card, we're going to create 2 watercolor cards, and they are super easy. In fact, if you wanted to create a thank you set with these with different colors of tulips, I think that would be gorgeous. So I have some Canson XL watercolor here. I treated my paper with my anti-static powder tool, and then I'm inking up the tulip here with my Versamark ink. I'm going to stamp this in the bottom right corner, kind of trailing up to the top right. I'm going to stamp it 3 times. This is the only stamp that we're going to use in the stamp set today. I thought it was perfect for my projects. We'll stamp one more time, kind of offsetting it a bit. Then I'm going to go over my image with my white embossing powder, and I went ahead and melted that. For my second panel, we're just going to stamp this image off to the left a little bit, and stamp it with the same Versamark ink, and then I heat set it with white embossing powder. So both our panels are ready to go. Now here's the fun part, and so easy, but I like the look of this. I think it looks very organic and very natural. But I'm taking some Faded Jeans Distress Oxide inks, and you could do this if you wanted to with your regular distress inks. Distress Oxide inks will leave a little bit of a chalky look to them, but and I think they blend a little bit more better than the little mini, well, I have the mini distress ink cubes, but so that's what we're using today. Now I blotched all the background that I could with my faded jeans, missing the tulips of course, and then I'm going to use my fossilized amber and go on the inside of each one of my tulips. And it looks like a real hot mess, guys, but bear with me. I think the outcomes turns out so pretty. After my tulips are colored, I'm going to go ahead and I wanted a little bit of a two-tone in my tulips. So I'm just dotting some ripe persimmon on the very bottom of each one of my tulips. And then for my leaves of the tulips, I'm going to bring in my peeled paint. And I'm just making sure I stay inside the leaves. It's kind of inevitable with the leaves because they're so pointed to go outside the lines. And then also because of the stems of the tulips, I'm using my fine detail blending tool, but I'm still going outside the lines. But no worries. I think the look of it, it flows nicely. So there's my panel, and we are going to bring in some water to blend everything together. We're not going to leave it like that. Okay, I'm using my distress sprayer. We're adding some water to our watercolor panel here. And then, just to help out the spreading of color, I'm bringing in my water brush. If you want to use a paintbrush, you very well could, but I'm going to be using my water brush to color in my next image. So I had this on my desk. But I'm just picking up the excess water that is in the top area and filling in any areas in my background that have white, that are not saturated, basically. Okay, once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and take my towel and dab off the excess water, and it's going to fade. It's going to pull back the color quite a bit. And then I'll use my heat gun to dry it, and then that's going to pull back the color a little bit more. So it's going to end up being really soft. But I think the outcome turns out so neat. Now you'll notice that some parts of my tulips didn't get inked, and some part of my leaves didn't get inked. But that's okay, we're going to fix that in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to bring in an acrylic block and add some of my fossilized amber to it. And then using my water brush, we're going to go ahead and fill in those white areas that didn't get inked up. Nice thing about the water brush is there's water in there. So all you have to do is squeeze it a little bit to get some of that water out. And then pick up a little bit of the oxide ink, and then it basically does everything for you. Easy peasy. Just filling in all the little white areas, and then to make it look a little bit more natural, I'm using my towel and dabbing off the excess. And it does bring out the color a little bit more, makes it a little bit more bold than it did before. Now for our next panel, we are going to use our water brush and color in our flower. And the more water you use, the less color that your flower will have. The more less water, the more color you'll have. I'm just adding a little highlighted detail. Now I'm not going to dab off the excess on this one. I want my flower to be a little bit more bold because it's the only image that's going to be on my panel. I am going to add a little bit of my ripe persimmon, add a little orangey bottom to the tulip, give it a two-tone look. And then once I'm happy with my flower here, we're going to go ahead and bring in peeled paint, and then we'll paint our little tulip stems and our tulip leaves here. Easy peasy to do. Nice thing about embossing is it contains your watercolor, so if you oversaturate it, no worries. It's because kind of creates like a little barrier for your watercolor. Now here I'm going in with my peeled paint over the leaves in the areas that are white, just so there's no white areas. And it also intensifies the leaves too for my background. And I love the outcome. I did the stems of this also. Nice way to use your leftover ink. I think that looks great. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my heat gun and dry both of my panels. You could air dry them if you wanted to, but I'm just going to use my heat gun to dry them to speed up the process. And once they're dry, we're going to go ahead and create some panels that will fit in A2 size card base. So we're going to trim down this one to 4 inches by 5 1/4. I'm leaving a little bit of an open that blue area on the top because that's where we're going to put our sentiment. So we'll trim the bottom off of this one. And then we're going to trim a bit off of our next panel, off of the left side. That way we have a little bit of an open area on the right for our sentiment on this panel. This one will be measured the same, which will be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And you can see that I'm using Canson XL watercolor cardstock, which is an ivory color. So instead of using my white card bases, I'm going to bring in some ivory colored cardstock. It's actually called buttercream, but I think it goes perfect with watercolor panels. My panel did warp a bit, so I am going to go ahead and adhere lots of foam adhesive behind it, and then just tack that down to our card base, which is a standard A2 size card base. We're going to do the same to this. We're going to add 4 strips of foam adhesive. We're going to load it up, or you could use fun foam too. I think that would help with the warping. This one actually didn't warp too bad. I think if you guys were to tape down your panels to a hard surface, I think it would prevent a little bit more of the warping also. Okay, both our panels are done. I think they look so pretty. And now we're going to add our sentiment. Instead of stamping it, I thought we would use a thank you die. This is from Pretty Pink Posh. And we're going to die cut out the word thank you with white cardstock. And then we're also going to die cut it out with craft cardstock. For the craft cardstock, I wanted a little bit of dimension, so I put a piece of fun foam behind it and then die cut it out together. This way I have a little bit of added texture to that more ivory background panel. I think it's going to look great. The white one, it's just one layer. We're going to punch out the pieces here. I think the script on this thank you is gorgeous. This is the craft one again is gonna go on my single tulip on the very bottom. And here's where I think it would make a great gift card set. If you wanted to do this with different colors of tulips, with pinks and oranges and I think purples, I think it would just look gorgeous. Okay, we're gonna bring in the glue sponge to adhere our thank you. Just gonna secure that with a acrylic block to help weight that down. And then we're gonna do the same thing to our craft cardstock. Put acrylic block on there to help set that glue down there. Okay, we're gonna work on our single tulip panel first, and I thought we would bring in some gems. These gems are from Pretty Pink Posh. They're the buttercream gems. I've used them quite often, but I think it goes perfect for spring cards. And I'm also going to add some twine. This is natural twine. I doubled it up since it's on the thinner side and tied a bow to the right here. It goes perfect with a craft cardstock, and it really creates an organic looking thank you card. I like this. Okay, here's the buttercream gems. We're going to add a few around our sentiment, add a little added sparkle. We're just going to place them. I like to place them first on my panel. That way I can kind of move them around. And then once I'm happy, I can go ahead and use my jewel picker upper here and commit and add some glue behind each one of those. And then this one is ready to go. Now for my full watercolor background, I thought we would bring in some Pretty Pink Posh bubbles. There's 2 different sizes. I believe it's a 3mm and a 5mm, and I thought it kind of goes good with our blue background because it kind of looks like a little bit of a rainy spring day. So I thought the water droplets, well, the droplets would work perfect for that. I'm going to add both sizes to the front of this card. I think it looks gorgeous. We're going to bring in some white twine, and then we're going to finish it off by wrapping it around the bottom of our card twice, and then I will tie a bow off to the right side on this card as well. But easy peasy cards to do. Super fun, kind of creating a hot mess and then spraying it. I think the outcomes just always amazes me. But I'm just going to trim the tails of this twine here, and that completes card number 2. So I look forward to creating for you guys some more baby projects with some of the baby dies and the stamps in the brand new release over at Pretty Pink Posh. But thank you so much for joining me, guys. I wish you a fabulous day, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.